15 years ago, I walked out through the emergency room doors into a cold, dark, rainy night. I had just worked a 36-hour shift in the cardiac care unit of the emergency room. And I was so exhausted. Still wearing my hospital greens, I walked out through those dark, wet streets to my car, and I drove home to the adorable little apartment that I had so naively rented at the beginning of my residency, thinking that I would actually be there in the daylight. And I walked into that dark little space, and I threw my stuff on the ground, and I threw myself on the ground. And I lay there, and I just sobbed and sobbed. I had no idea how I was going to get through the rest of my life. I was $100,000 in debt. I'd been in university for 11 years at that point. This was all I knew how to do. And there were a couple of significant problems with my having chosen emergency medicine as a career. And these are true. The first is that I panic under pressure. I'm not kidding. Meredith saw a little bit of that earlier. Yes, I am the very last person you want standing in front of you if you ever have a heart attack. In fact, I will finish having my own heart attack before you. Not what you want. The second significant problem, and this is also true, is that I can't stand the sight of large amounts of blood. And I won't tell you how it was that I found that out, but I didn't discover until I was in my residency. And again, not a thing that you're looking for in an emergency room physician when you are in the greatest crisis of your life. You don't want her passing out. So as I lay there, just not even knowing how I was going to get through the next day, much less an entire career doing this, things seemed so hopeless, just so impossible, that as I lay there, I actually started thinking about what I had in my bathroom medicine cabinet and whether I had enough there to just exit the planet that night. And you know, I think everybody in this room probably at some point will reach a point in your life where you feel so backed into a corner, you feel like you've looked at every single option that you could possibly look at and that there's just no way out, there's just no hope. And I know now from my own experience and from having worked with so many people since that there always is a door there. In fact, there's probably multiple doors yet there. You just haven't seen them yet. You don't know that they're there yet. There's a 12-step saying, don't quit before the miracle. And it's so true. As I lay there on the floor, suddenly the phone rang. And it was Karen. She was one of the chief residents of the emergency medicine program. And she had never called me before. And as soon as I heard her voice on the line, I slapped on that perfect mask that I'd worn for decades. It's so important to talk about burnout. Burnout can happen whether you absolutely love what you're doing or you're in a situation that's really hard on you. In both situations, you're at risk, which means everybody in this room probably is to some degree at risk. And I want to empower you with understanding it, so if it's happening to you or happens, you know what's happening, and then you know what to do to prevent it and also to heal it if it's happening. So it's overall exhaustion, it creeps up on you, and it's just what naturally happens in the mind and the body if you're trying to do too much. So it's not a sign of weakness at all. It's just what we're designed to do if we've been doing too much for too long. And she said, I want to thank you so much for teaching about burnout. For years, my family has been telling me that I've become this really negative, grumpy, irritable person, and it makes me feel so bad. And I actually had thought that I had just changed, and this is now who I am. And I realized I'm just burned out. I'm still the same person. And this is the same for you, whether it's depression, whether it's burnout. Even if you feel so far from the you that you used to be, you are still that person, and you will be that person again. There are things that you can do. This is a huge one, and this is statistically actually a risk factor for burnout, being a yes woman or a yes man. I have my priorities really clearly delineated, because if you're clear about your most essential priorities in your life and you're overwhelmed, it's so helpful to know what that list is. And anytime a request comes, even a fantastic request, and this is what McKeon talks a lot about in his book, it's easy to say no to the things that we don't want to do, but a lot of times, in order to really thrive and succeed, you have to say no to really good things too. So it's important to have that list of priorities. You can use it kind of like a pocket accountability partner that you can take with you anywhere. It's amazing. I see it all the time. When you start looking after yourself and you're not in survival mode anymore, it's incredible what will come out of you that you didn't even know was there. And I want to share with you what Linda wrote to me at the end of our year together. Because as you probably figured out, she was just burned out. She said, I have found the space to focus on the things I really want to do. My desire to escape overseas to a new life dissolved. And I found myself living the kind of life I no longer wanted to escape from. So if you're feeling at all like you just want to run screaming away from everything, hang in and try some of these things and see if it doesn't just completely turn it around. It's remarkable. These people in this study, once they got their sleep normalized, their personalities completely changed. Their moods were better, less anxiety, can handle stress better. Your immune system needs sleep to fight out anything that might come your way. And then this is a really great motivator, and I love this piece of information, is that getting enough sleep actually promotes weight loss. And they think that a lot of the challenges with obesity in our society have to do with how sleep deprived we all are. And now, I know some of you, because you are juggling so many things, you might be listening to me and say, I don't even know how I would get 15 minutes more sleep. But I have good news for you. No matter how much sleep you get, there are things that you can do that can improve the quality. Now, this is the hugest one. And I know it's so hard. This is something truly I battle with every single night. And that's the screens. There was a study out of Harvard this year. They said that 90% of us look at some kind of bright screen, whether that's your smartphone or your tablet or the television. 90% of us look at a light like that within an hour of sleep. And what they showed in this study is they actually looked at the 4 hours before sleep. And so they had one group not looking at any kind of light-emitting device at all, and then the other group was using a light-emitting device in the 4 hours before sleep. And they found that, first of all, when you look at something like that, it tells your brain that it's daytime, so you're more alert. You're less likely to even feel drowsy and feel like going to bed. You'll feel like staying up late. And when you do go to bed, it'll take you longer to fall asleep. It suppresses melatonin, which is a big anti-aging hormone and serves so many purposes related to sleep and to life and development. It phase shifted people's circadian rhythms, so the light throws your circadian rhythms off. The sleep wasn't as deep, and the next day, the people who had used the devices with the light felt way less alert. And I've been testing this. I actually keep a sleep log now, and just to motivate myself. And I make a note when I was on the screens and when I wasn't, and I cannot believe the difference. Now I want to talk about one of my very favorite areas of medicine. That's mind-body medicine. And I've had many clients say to me, I can't meditate. I have tried meditating. My mind just wanders and wanders and wanders. And that's normal. We all do that to different degrees. And again, Dr. Benson says, what seems to be the powerful part of meditation is not just sitting there thinking nothing. The thing that actually causes the change in your brain is when your mind wanders, you notice, and you bring it back. And that's when the mind starts to change and start to heal, by that noticing and bringing it back. And obviously she's learned a lot of tools, but what actually happens is meditation changes your brain. So now again, if you're thinking, I'm sorry, but I don't have 15 minutes a day, I've got something fantastic for you, and it's something that I use all the time. And they taught this at the Benson Henry Institute as well, and they call it mini meditations. And they are powerful for decreasing stress hormones, calming your body, focusing your mind. And all it is you do this special kind of breathing that's very simple. Anytime in your day that you get an opportunity, like let's say you're downloading something on your computer and you've got like a minute or so, you can do it then. If you're waiting at a stoplight, if you're in line at the grocery store, this is something that you can do anytime you're just waiting. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you feel what that did? It's remarkable. Your blood pressure has just dropped. I do this with patients in the office all the time. If they have high blood pressure, I just have them do a couple of these, and I show them using the blood pressure cuff what a difference it makes. A lot of us have high blood pressure or high stress just because we're not breathing. I know that I've said a lot today. I've given you a lot of information. And what I'd like you to do is, my homework for you is to just think of a couple things, write them in your book, think of a couple things, or even just think for the next couple of days and see what comes to mind in terms of what you want to focus on, just 2 things, and what your plan is going to be for implementing them into your life when you get home. And keep it really simple. You want to get a win. Don't want to put a lot of pressure, don't want to try to do too much at once. It's not January 1st. Identify what your most important values are and live by them. And please take such good care of yourself. You are the only you that we have.
So let go and just get it.